Boy oh boy, it would be sure nice to play a game where I can stab skeletons while fighting alongside the very real and awesome friends I definitely do have. If only there were a way that I could do that while also not becoming so personally attached to the fictional character I have created that I will fall into a deep abyss of depression if they die. Well, my friend with a very weird emotional outlook on life, I do have a solution for you. It's called Gloomhaven, and instead of creating characters with complex emotions and feelings, you instead fill out this piece of paper that is so basic some people even forget to give a name to their character. Welcome to A Garbage Guide to Gloomhaven. The Gloomhaven character sheet is something that could potentially scare a lot of people, but get a hold of yourself! Next to the D&D character sheet, the superior Gloomhaven one is a very basic boy. Of course the D&D one isn't that bad, but the Gloomhaven one is only a single piece of paper and has significantly less words, and even better, it has less math. So let's start by going backwards from right to left. At the beginning of the game, you get gold that is equal to your current level, in this case 1. Add that number by 1, then multiply the total of that by 15. If that's too much math, don't worry, here's a very helpful and useful chart that you could use. At level 1, you start off with 30 gold, and then you can use that to buy a plethora of items and take up a specific piece of your stonky chonk bod. You only get 1 item for each part, except for single-wheeled items, you can have 2 of those, but if you even just have 1 single-wheeled item, you can't use a double-wielded item. Basically think of it like Skyrim, except cooler and a lot more fun. You can also get these pouch items, and the amount that you can get is equal to your level divided by 2 rounded up, and if that's still too much math for you, here's a helpful chart down here. There are 3 different kinds of items: single use, not single use, and forever use. Single use items can only be used once and then they're gone forever, just like the ex-girlfriends who will never return. No! Not single use items are used once then die but can be resurrected by long resting, and forever use items have no limit to their gloriousness. If an item has this, then that means you have to add however many -1 to your modifier deck the game decides to have you suffer with. That is, unless you have this particular perk. Well, what are perks? I'm so glad you asked. Perks are awesome little add-ons that can make your character even better at stabbing things. Most of them add or subtract cards from your modifier deck, but there are a couple that do some different things. Negative scenario effects are these. Sometimes there are words here that are meant to screw you over, but take and ignore negative scenario effects and suddenly you're a lot less screwed over. Like I said before, this one lets you actually have a good modifier deck when it comes to the chunkiest of items that make the game easier. How do you get these? Great question. Every time you level up, you can fill in a check mark, but there is another way that doesn't take 40 years, only 39. At the beginning of each scenario, you get 2 of these cards. You pick one and yeet the other one back to the pile. These are your scenario quests, and doing them gives you a mini check mark that you put here. Once you get 3 mini checkmarks, you then get a new perk. Sometimes these mini checkmarks come as rewards for certain random city or road events, and sometimes they even take them away from you. I think I'm in an abusive relationship with Gloomhaven. Next up is your experience tracker thing. I don't know what to call this. These numbers on the side let you know how many experience points it takes to get to each level, and don't worry, these numbers are the total experience points. You don't need to somehow get 500 experience points in one scenario to get you from level 8 to level 9, but if you manage that, what the crap are you doing to get that many experience points? Holy cow. You get experience points each time you use a card with this little symbol on it. Usually you only get 1, but sometimes you can get up to 1 billion, and that's just not fair. Every time you level up, you get 1 perk, but you also get 1 brand spanking new card to add to your murder deck. Usually people will get 1 card for every new level, but sometimes they go back and grab seconds if they don't like a certain level's options, or they just skip the level entirely to nab yourself some better cards later down the line. Now let's mosey over to whatever this is. Personal quests are your character's entire reason for wanting to run into live volcanoes and slap rocks until they explode. When you create a character, you grab 2 of these cards and choose which one you want to keep. The goal at the bottom of the card is your personal quest, and your character exists until that quest is fulfilled. Sometimes you unlock new scenarios after you complete certain parts of your quest, but don't get too excited because you still need to play through those scenarios before you can retire a character. What's retirement? It's when old people sit around and make cookies for random children that just show up to their house. When a character retires, you unlock the town records booklet that gives you more lore on the world of Gloomhaven. You can read it until it tells you not to read it. Like this part, it tells you about this library thing, and then the next part tells you that you should subscribe to my channel. Gloomhaven demands it. When you retire, the next character you play gets a perk at the start of their adventure, and you also add a checkmark to Gloomhaven's prosperity. Well, what's prosperity? Let's finish up the video by explaining prosperity! Gloomhaven prosperity is great until it becomes absolutely broken. When your prosperity goes up, you get new items, which one to get is based off of this little chart right here. You also get to start out new characters at higher levels. So let's say my prosperity was at level 3. My new character would be at level 3, be able to pick a level 2 and level 3 card, have 2 perks, 6 of gold, and a partridge in a pear tree. Thank you all for watching, and if you wish to see more Garbage Guides to Gloomhaven, be sure to subscribe. You are all awesome, and as always, until next time.